Hello, my name is Sasha Struthers. I'm a landlord attorney here in Los Angeles. Today I'm going to do a video talking about Los Angeles City specifically, substantial remodel, also known as primary renovation. Before I get into that, please feel free to like this video, subscribe to this channel. Both are very easy and free. And there's also the bell icon, so if you want to ever be alerted about my new videos, you should also click that button too. Anyway, so in California, one of the ways in which you can evict a tenant under California's rent control is for primary renovation work, or what California calls substantial remodel. Los Angeles calls primary renovation work. Local municipal codes have their own rent controls, specifically Los Angeles City, which I'm going to talk about in this video. Los Angeles City has what's called primary renovation work. It's substantially the same thing as substantial remodel. The defining factors are the same. But in Los Angeles City, it's not a ground to do a no-fault just cause eviction. Whereas in California or in some select localities in the county, that would be grounds to evict a tenant. How it works in Los Angeles City is if you are going to do primary renovation work, which requires permits, part of the permitting process is you fill out a tenant habitability plan. The tenant habitability plan will outline the scope of the work to be done and what interferences it would have on the habitability of the unit. So if you're doing substantial remodeling of a unit and it requires a tenant to move out for 30 or more days, then at the tenant's own option, they can, within 15 days of receiving the tenant habitability plan, because you have, once the plan's finalized, you serve it on the tenant. They have 60 days to object to it, appeal to it. Within 15 days of receiving it, the tenant can elect to be permanently relocated instead of being temporarily relocated and moved out of the unit while the work is going on. That tenant's option to exercise permanent relocation is renewed if the work actually ends up taking longer than 30 days. The gamble with this is you go and you pull these permits and you hire a contractor and you budget this whole thing out, and then you do this rad remodel of your unit, and then you just move in the same person at the same rent, right? Hoping that they'll exercise this, I don't want to live here, I will move forever. What ends up happening in this situation, or part of the strategy, would be, instead of it essentially being the tenants choosing to move out, you can advise the tenant of their option to permanently relocate, and then maybe give them a few bucks more and just get them to agree to a tenant buyout. So if you don't want to gamble with will they exercise this option? Will they permanently relocate? If you want to kind of push them, then you would do a tenant buyout agreement. And one of the good things about a tenant buyout agreement is they do get a disclosure that states the relocation amount anyway. So they're going to kind of know what they would get if they were to permanently relocate. And then you can add a little bit more. But you have, instead of doing a cold buyout, if you have this legitimate basis that you plan to substantially rehab these units and the tenant is going to have to move out, you have a little more leverage in that sense, because most of the time tenants are not going to want to temporarily relocate and then move back. That's very annoying. You have to move them out and then move them in. It's also expensive for the landlord to move people out and move people in. So that is one of the options that LA City has, even in the code, which is a tenant could, at their own discretion, just forever move out. And so I thought that was pretty interesting. There's very few cities in LA that don't fall under LA County rent control or LA cities, that their own cities. And few of them specifically carve out in their rent control. No fault just cause for substantial remodeling. A lot of cities don't have rent control, so it defaults to the state. which has a substantial remodel. But the bulk of the buildings that need to be rehabbed tend to be in LA City. So if you have any questions about this, if you need further clarification, if you want to partake in this, either you're planning to substantially remodel and you want to get people out, by all means, please call me. I do free consultations. We can discuss it. We can come up with a strategy that makes the most sense with you. And you don't have to wait till you're pulling the permits to start engaging in a tenant buyout that you could do now, that you could even do during the pandemic. You can't do evictions based on substantial remodeling or anything like that, no fault, just cause evictions during the emergency, which at the time of this video is still going. But yes, subscribe to this channel, like this video, sign up for my newsletter. All those things are free and super helpful for you. I mean, for me, sure, but for you mostly. And yeah, have a good day.